You're listening to Book Banter with Diane Burkhart, your book talk podcast. Join me every Wednesday for real conversations with authors and publishing insiders, where you get to connect with the humans behind the books you love. Let's get on with our show today. Well, hello, my happy people. Today is February 25th, 2026, and we have got an incredible show for you today. We are officially at the midpoint of our Lovefest for this season, and this is the final episode of month one. Today's guest is an award-winning author, and we are talking to him about his dystopian love story, Undercity. This book is in pre-order right now and will publish on March 31st. I loved having this conversation during Lovefest because he makes a very strong point in this conversation that even in the darkest of times, people still fall in love. When you listen to him speak, you can hear the passion as he talks about his work. He talks with intensity, with conviction. You can hear how much his story matters to him, how much the characters matter to him, how much emotional truth matters. And yes, he is the son of Charles M. Schulz, the creator of Peanuts, but this conversation is about him and his work, his voice, his perspective on love, dystopia, and why connection survives even when everything else feels unreliable. If you like love stories that are not soft and shiny, but grounded and human, this is an author you may want to follow. So that's enough for right now. Let's get straight to our interview. Please welcome to Book Banter with Diane Burkhart, award-winning author, Monte Schulz. I'd just like to start out by asking my guest to please tell everyone who you are and what you do.
I'm Monte Schulz, and I'm a writer, author of, I think, 6 books. And in the last 5 years, I wrote a novel called Metropolis, and just finished its companion last year called Undercity, and it's going to be published on March 31st. My father was Charles Schulz, wrote Peanuts, and he was an avid reader, and he told me when I got old enough to read books and tell him about books that I read that he hadn't, he said, I've been waiting my whole life, Monty, to be able to talk books with you, and here you are at last.
That was one thing I was wondering is, your dad was not the only other creative person. You've got siblings who are creative too. What was it like to live in a house that had creative people in it? Did that shape the way that you do storytelling?
No, because I don't really know that my siblings are creative in the same way. Well, my sister was a horseback rider, raised horses. My brother rode motorcycles and then learned to fly. And my younger sisters were both ice skaters, and one of them has a company called All Wheel Sports, where they perform all over the United States, mostly in Cedar Rapids, or something. That's some big show, and then at Knott's Berry Farm in California. So she was a professional skater. She skated with Holiday on Ice, and my other sister lives in Utah, has a bunch of kids, and just got a degree in linguistics.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know about creative. My brother and my nephew's writing partner wrote the screenplay for the Peanuts movie, but I don't want to be part of that at all. So I don't know. They're not creative in the same way. My mom had a really great idea for design and architecture, and so she was very creative and interested in music. But I wouldn't say sorry, siblings. I don't really know how creative they really are.
You earned an MA in American Studies from UCSB.
UC Santa Barbara, yeah. Mm-hmm.
What did you plan to do with that for a career?
Well, I thought I might teach, but I wanted to write right away. So, in fact, I was approved for a PhD program. I stopped because I didn't want to write about other people's books anymore. I wanted to write my own. So I finished with my master's, and American Studies is a good degree because it's an interdisciplinary degree and allowed me to pursue studies in American literature, American history, and my master's thesis was also on literature of the Far West and studies in the Far West, and then small town America, which is what I wrote my master's thesis on. So I thought it was a very good degree, and I did teach, but I decided I was more interested in writing than teaching. So that's where I've been. And then I went into music after I finished Crossing Eden, 1,000-page novel set in the spring, summer, and fall of 1929. And I just did music, where I'd started as a writer when I was 20, 21 years old. And then I went back to writing books, Metropolis and Undercity. So that's where I am now.
And I know, obviously, music is very important to you. After your first novel, Down by the River, which was released in 1990.
Yeah.
You spent like the next decade writing that 1,000-page book about the Jazz Age.
Yeah.
I mean, that's quite an epic undertaking. What inspired that?
That's a good question. And it's actually very simple. One, that's the age my dad was young in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he was born in 1922. And it was also the era of novelists I was reading and writers. I was really enamored of. Carl Sandburg was my favorite writer. Faulkner, Fitzgerald, Hemingway, John Dos Passos, Edgar Lee Masters. All those writers were interesting to me. So I decided I wanted to write about that era. So that's really where that came from. No other reason than that. Although I will say that the 20s were the time when America was making the transition from a rural nation to urban.
Mm-hmm.
So it was still 2/3 rural and the rest urban, but it was just an interesting time. So I read a lot about it and learned how people spoke back then. I have reams of notes of 20s expressions, which I thought was pretty funny. So that's why I wrote in that era, and it did take me a long time to write. It just did. I was learning how to write. And so the book, again, is called Crossing Eden. And it has family stories, letters I had from my great-great-grandparents and my maternal grandfather. So those all went into the book verbatim.
Oh, wow.
So it's sort of a compendium of not only the time, but also my family history. I'm very proud of that book. Very proud. But again, it ate up 12 years of my life. I didn't set foot on an airplane for, 10, 12 years.
Oh, wow. Now, wasn't that originally published in 3 parts?
Yeah. Okay. So the reason for that was you have 3 main characters. Marie Hennessy, Marie and Harry Hennessy are married and they have 2 kids. As the book opens there, Harry has had a downturn in business and has to sell the family home, and he's sending Marie and the children down to his mother's house in East Texas. And that's where her story takes place. Meanwhile, he goes to the city to try to recover himself as a businessman. And the third part is Alvin Pendergast, who is Marie's cousin. And he has survived a bout of tuberculosis, but it's coming back. And so he decides to run away from the family farm and hooks up with a guy who ends up being a gangster. And they go through all these small towns on what they call the middle border. We call the Middle West now, in Kansas and Nebraska and such. And so those are the 3 books. So what happened was, when my publisher, Gary Groth, agreed to publish the book, the city part with Harry Hennessy, it needed editing. It really wasn't in good shape. The Marie part, I needed to add stuff to. Alvin's part was perfect just as it was. So I broke the book up into 3 parts. It was not written in 3 parts in the normal sense. Some people think that I wrote one story, then the next, but I didn't do it like that. I would write a chapter in one and then go on to another chapter in another book. So it was essentially Alvin, Marie, Harry, Alvin, Marie, Harry, Alvin, Marie, Harry, like that. All through the book, I wrote it like that.
Mm-hmm.
So then I didn't know I could even break the book apart, but I pulled Alvin out first because he's sort of standalone. Harry and Marie are married, so I thought I can't break them up. It also made the book shorter. I thought it'd be easier to publish, maybe.
Yeah.
It turns out the answer was yes and no. It really wasn't, but it seemed that way. And then I got to publish 4 books because all 3 plus put back together is the 4th Crossing Eden. So that's how that actually came about. Alvin was published first under the title This Side of Jordan. Then Marie published under the title The Last Rose of Summer. And then Harry in the city called The Big Town, which is what they called the city back then. And then put back together under the original title Crossing Eden. So that's a long-winded way of answering the question, but that's how it came to be in that way.
When you put the 3 together to create Crossing Eden, did you re-edit the story?
I only had to change one thing. It was in the Marie story where I had to give a little backstory of why they were selling the house that we see live in the big book, because Harry and Marie are in a living room. He's telling her why they have to sell the house. So that had to come out. And I replaced it with a little italics backstory of why they were selling the house. And that was it. Otherwise, no. I added stuff, but it did take me 12 years to write that book. So, there you go. Long book.
Besides writing, you're also a musician and a composer. Do you find that those 2 creative sides tend to war for your time, or are they more complementary?
In my adult configuration, they don't exist together at all. I was tired of sitting in front of a computer for 30 years, and so I went back to writing music, again, where I'd started in my early 20s, and gave it up as my dad got me more interested in poetry and then prose and then long fiction. They're only tangentially connected in the terms of lyrical language. The song lyrics are really easy for me. So, and most people I know who hear my music think that I wrote lyrics first and then added music. It was actually always the opposite. I always write all the music first, and then I try to figure out what the song's going to be about. Like, I don't pick up a guitar and say, I think I'm going to write a song about this or that. I never do that. I've never done it. If I just do that, I have more than enough material in all my books. I don't have to write about anything. So it's all about melody. And so it's about the music, not about the words. I'm just really good at writing lyrics because I write books. But beyond that, I don't see any connection. And also, music just costs too much to record and pay the musicians and all that. So it wasn't really leading anywhere. I have like 2 CDs and just finishing a third. But I decided in spring of 2019, what was I doing? How did I fill my time before? I'm not doing anything anymore. And I realized, writing books. Oh my God, I could write books. So I did. I went back to writing books and I wrote Metropolis. It won the New York City Big Book Award for literary fiction like 3 years ago. I was shocked because my publicist sent me the notice of it. I was just working on Undercity. I saw the notice. I don't know what that is. And then later that afternoon, I looked and I go, oh, that's nice. I called her up. I said, so Deborah, I won that award. She goes, yes, it's really wonderful, isn't it? I said, well, what's good is it means somebody actually read my book. And she goes, Monte, they not only read your book, but they chose yours as the best literary novel. I thought, well, that's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah.
Metropolis, it's really interesting because as I said, we got Crossing Eden that took 10 years to write. But Metropolis, I picked up where I'd stopped in 2003. Think about that. 16 years before. I picked it up at the same scene and then wrote the entire rest of the book. It's 668 pages. I wrote the rest of it in 9 months. I just zoomed through it. Really easy book to write. It was all muse driven. I didn't have to think about anything. I literally made the whole thing up as I was writing it with no idea what was going to happen next. I just wrote it. It all came out pretty well, I thought. And then I wrote Undercity actually in the same way. I just made it up as I was writing it. And I had a good writing schedule. Okay, by the way, as far as writer's block, which a lot of writers claim they have, my dad didn't believe it at all. Dad had a great quote. He goes, only amateurs get writer's block. Professionals can't afford it. And so what I did, I would wake up in the morning and I would have to write 1 page at least 1 page before I ate or drank anything. And that's hunger and thirst are great motivating factors to write something. So that's how I zoomed through it. And of course I'd write, maybe 2 or 3 pages in the afternoon. And sometimes in the morning I'd get an idea and write more than 1 page, but I had to do that. And that's what got me through that book. So to answer your question, no, there's no overlap. Even recording music now, I haven't written a song in like 4 years because I just don't see the point. And we have 16 songs, which fills up a CD anyway right now. And just finishing recording a couple of them, and that's it. I don't even play guitar anymore. Anyway, go ahead.
I definitely wanted to get into Undercity. But one thing that I was really wanting to talk to you about is how did you choose the cover art image for this? Because the imagery in this is just absolutely incredible. You can sit here and be staring at this for hours and just keep getting deeper and deeper into the imagery on this cover.
Yeah, well, it's the painting from Hieronymus Bosch from, the 16th century or something. Well, the Undercity is it's again, catacombs and caverns and all these in the underground, and there are arcades of people, 1 million people live under there, and some terrible things happen. So I wanted a cover that captured it, and I knew the painting. It's part of a triptych. One of the other parts of the triptych is on the back cover of the book. I just liked it. It's crazy. Of course, we had to crop it, actually, to make the whole thing, it's not the whole thing fits, but I think we got like 3/4 of it. I can't remember exactly, but I just thought it was really good. I thought it was what Undercity is sort of about and what it's like. And I didn't know how people would receive it. I sent the image to my publisher, and then I showed the bookseller, has a woman named Pat, and she owns a store, and she asked me, so what's the cover going to be like? Because the cover for Metropolis is really cool. It's the original painting. So I showed it to her. She goes, oh, wow, yes, great cover. So I don't know, people loved it. I didn't know if they would like it, and everyone loved it. So you just kind of go with it, right? When people like it.
Oh, yeah. I've been sitting here staring at this afternoon as I was going through my questions, and there's just like so much you can dive into on this cover. It's incredible. But I think it fits well with your dystopian story that you've created. This world is so vivid and so complex. It just goes right along with that.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be sort of almost a template for what the book is about. Have you seen the website for Undercity? It's really cool. You look up undercitythebook.com. It's got pictures. It's got quotes from all over the book. So we've got under the title, Navigating Undercity, it shows quotes from eugenical politics and philosophy, war, God, love, and last one is of life and death and truth. So the characters all have pictures, edifying pictures that I thought resembled what the character might look like. And each one has quotes from the book. So on the website, just like in Metropolis, you can get an idea of what the book is like and how I write from this website. It took us a while to put together, but it's really good. It's really pretty to look at. And I think it's fun to read. You'll really like it, I promise you. And Metropolis, too. It's a little bit different. And also what it does is I have lists of all the cars. Let's see what I have. I got cars and vehicles. I got weapons and inventions. I've got schools and institutions, right? All these places I made up. Music and theaters. Yeah, I have music in it. A song called By Twilight, Stars Above. Another one is Flight of Orestes. Theme of Moses. The Summer Matinee of Elise Aubreer's. And a song called Love's Secret Heart, and another one, Lucky Me, Loving You, that kind of thing. I made them all up. And then food and drinks, Pothenius wine, Masana pies, Lillian cheese, butter sticks, Zemlia. I don't even know what it is. But if you make stuff up, they like Zemlia. So the characters know what it is because they live in that world. The fact that we don't live in it means we're not going to know what it is. So you just sort of accept it. Okay, this is my favorite food in Undercity, Miggly cookies.
Okay.
I just like them. I don't know what they are.
Just like the name?
Yeah, I just like Miggly cookies, right? And that's the fun thing, just making stuff up. A whole bunch of really interesting things. So anyway, you get all of that in the website.
I did see the Metropolis one, the website that you have for that one. That one looks really cool. So I'm going to have to check out the Undercity one later today.
They're really fun. I don't like websites that only have a couple pages. They seem boring. Mm-hmm. And my web designer's always like, well, it's just too long. It's too long. It's too big. No, it isn't, because it's entertaining then. metropolisthebook.com and undercitythebook.com. And also you can buy the book off the website. So that's convenient, I suppose. So anyway, there's a lot to look at. And it's because the books are big, right? So they should seem like there's a lot of stuff. Undercity is unusual in that it has a lot of different characters telling the story. So we have the main four characters, Mark of Grinnell, Mireille Scrier, Geismar Brecht, and we've got a character named Pyrenees. And then we got Fiora Pina, she's a thief. So the chapters here, the thief, the policeman, the physician, the cleric, the bookseller, the soldier, the orphan, the perfect man near the end. And then there's a novel, 7 chapters of a novel within the novel called Eros and the Owl by a writer named Frélin Philpiquet. I made him up, right? And he's actually mentioned in Metropolis. Julian is asked, have you read Eros and the Owl by Frélin Philpiquet? Of course, he hasn't. But in Undercity, you get to see 7 chapters. It's sort of a utopia cast against the dystopian world of the rest of Undercity. So it's a novel, again, novel within the novel. And you never get to see more. My girlfriend and I were reading it side by side. And she goes, okay, so what happens next? And I go, I don't know. I've never read the book. Okay, that's all there is. That's all there is. And not only that, but here's the best part. If you get Undercity, now Marco's story is a narrative all the way through. It has continuity. The rest of the vignettes all occur in the past at different times. They're not connected. So theoretically, you could just read these vignettes apart from the rest of the book. They don't bear on the plot of the book at all, but they relate directly to the idea of the book. So I was telling my publicist, if you guys don't have time to read the 694 pages, just start reading some of the vignettes. Some of them only have like maybe 3 pages, 4 pages. So it's actually pretty fun to cruise through. Or you can read it from the beginning to end, but it's not strictly necessary. So one of my publicists, he went to the end and read The Perfect Man. That's, I think, is about 20 pages, and it gets an idea. I advise the publicist, if they're going to talk about the book, to at least read some vignettes and get an idea what the book is about. So any reader can do that, too. That's what I do, actually, now. I don't read from the beginning. I just scroll and read one of the vignettes or part of Marco's story or something like that. But Undercity is a really fun book to read, I think.
Well, and this being dystopian fiction, it's very heavy and eerily prophetic for some of the things that are going on in contemporary world today.
Yeah.
But it's also described as a love story.
Oh, it is a love story. Sure. One of the quotes about love, I love this one. For too many of us, love has been a constant stranger, as if reason ever has anything to do with our hearts once love walks in. So the 2 characters, Mireille Scrier and Geismar Brecht, they fall in love. They are lovers. They haven't slept together yet, but they're falling in love. They're heading that direction. And then one of the other vignettes, there's a whole chapter being instructed on love, the meaning of love. And then in Eros and the Owl, they're discussing love the whole time. Theoretically, they think these two people, Thomas and Pandora, could be the last two people in the world. Everyone else has fallen asleep and they're gone. So they've been on this sanctuary in the novel, right?
Mm-hmm.
The novel within the novel. They've been in the sanctuary for over 100 years. They're just the two of them. The only thing they have to do is they have to keep their brains going. So Thomas is always asking Pandora about love and the meaning of love. So it's pretty interesting in that way to see what this is all about.
Whenever you're writing something like this that is such a bleak world, is it hard to keep the emotional intimacy alive and still keep that uplifting, I'm in love kind of feeling?
Well, I don't really think so. Some people say that. Publicists say, it's so dark. I go, no, not really dark. I mean, there's a lot of beauty in there. And so it's like, okay, well, you write a book, say, set in Germany in the 1940s. I don't know how happy that's going to be, but there's still love. People are still falling in love. I think it's a redefining of beauty. I don't know. It's kind of funny. The last word in the bookseller one is, this character says, books reflect our true selves, that perpetual mirror of hope and spirit and purpose. What lies within pages offers us more than possibilities. Eden is not a myth. It is a book. That's very hopeful, I think, to see that. So I don't know. I understand your point of view, but I kind of laugh about it because there's some terrible things happen, but there's a lot of beauty too. Only a couple of the vignettes don't have happy endings, but wait, hold on a second. I gotta look up one thing for you, okay? It kind of explains the feeling of this. Okay, here we go. Found it. So she's talking about love, and she's saying, why can't love be happiness? Husband makes my heart leap. I want to love him. I want him to love me in return. Can't that be so? And she says, the older she says, the heart is a bottomless vessel, my poor Fabi. It has no hesitancy in offering you a gleam of heaven, that golden sun and all abiding warmth. Yes, I want that so very much. Isn't that possible with Hazia? And that bottomless vessel, the heart can also sink your soul into a blackness no one can imagine, so dark and hopeless. Nothing seems possible of redeeming us. That cruel agony can feel unrelenting, perpetual, like the death of the world that none survives. And she says, my dear, you are confused by love. There is no competition for its favor. One loves or does not, according to the heart, whose mystery has never been solved. Temper its favor of you, if you can, favor of yours, and have faith that all love is worthy of our devotion, and what comes of it cannot be understood until long afterward. So there are a lot of things like that in this book. Love is a big part of this book.
Are you planning more stories in this universe, or are you going to head into a new direction now?
I don't know. I have a book that I started a long time ago. It's called Penny Dreams. The problem is I'm sort of stuck with the story. Like, I understand the whole arc of the whole thing. I understand what the book is about, but the specifics of plot, I just don't know. Mm-hmm. And I gave it up this summer. I returned to Metropolis, and then I started writing it last summer, and I then continued to edit Undercity. And then I started it again. It just hasn't gone anywhere. So I don't know. Maybe when I go back to Hawaii in April, I'll pick it up and try to. Otherwise, I have other book ideas. But these books were so easy to write, Metropolis and Undercity, that I'm curious as to why I can't really get into the other books. But it explains why I wrote these two, because they were so easy to get into. I don't know what I'm going to write. To answer your question, I'm not really sure. I'm not sure. Maybe I won't even write another book. I don't know. I think I'll just let it evolve as it does.
Now seems like the perfect time to do our 5 quick questions that never turn out to be quick, but I'm too stubborn to stop doing it. Are you ready?
Yes.
Since music has been a part of your life, we decided to do a few music-themed questions for you.
Okay.
Number 1, when writing, do you prefer to listen to music, have silence, or just ambient noise?
Ambient noise, yeah. If my gardener is having the blower outside, it doesn't distract me. Nothing distracts me. But I don't listen to music. I would find music, say, in my office while I'm writing, I would find distracting somehow. I just would. So ambient noise, yes, is fine.
Question 2. When researching the Jazz Age era for your book, was there an artist you had not heard of that you were impressed with when you were researching that topic?
Well, geez, there's so many. I guess you mean of any kind of art, right? Like writing or music or anything like that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the composer for Rhapsody in Blue was Everyone's going to be mad at me. I can't remember his name. He was very famous. Jeez. Anyway, and the writer, John Dos Passos, with his USA trilogy, because I wasn't so familiar with Rhapsody in Blue, except having heard it, but not paying much attention to it. And I never read USA until I started writing that book. So those two, yes.
Question 3. I won't ask you who your favorite musician is because that's always such a difficult question. But who do you think you listen to the most?
Well, these days, I don't think I listen to any single person the most. What I do to listening to music now is I cruise YouTube and watch the videos. And by doing that, I hear a lot of contemporary stuff and some older stuff and whatever. I like some of the videos and music from these three guys, I think they're in Florida, called Boyce Avenue, because they have different people singing with them, and I like them a lot.
Question 4. If you could work with any music artist, alive or dead, who would it be?
Wow, let's see. Work with, that means collaborate in songwriting on my records.
Or even do a soundtrack for your books. That's become a very popular thing. People are creating like playlists for their books for people to listen to while they read. It could be somebody to create that for you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't want somebody to do for my own book. I don't really like the idea of collaborating, like writing with another songwriter. What are they going to add? I don't know, collaborating. It'd be interesting to meet and talk music with Jackson Browne, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I would find that interesting because he seems like a smart guy. Talk a lot of different things. I don't know. I can't really think of anybody other than him.
I think Jackson Browne's a great answer.
Yeah, so there you go.
So your final question, question 5, yeah. We're asking the same one of everybody this year. Which book series do you think had the best book-to-movie adaptation?
Probably Harry Potter.
Oh, yeah.
Harry Potter, I liked it. I didn't read more than a little bit of the book, and then the movie came out.
Yeah.
And once I saw the movie, then I've already know the story, and then they all worked out like that. So I just would see the movies, and so I never read the books. I didn't think her writing is great. I thought the story was very inventive and creative and interesting. But I was reading other writers I thought were better writers. But I respected the creativity and the story, the whole ethos that came out of it. I liked a lot.
So now let's remind everybody who you are and where they can find your work.
I'm Monte Schulz, son of Charles Schulz, my late father, author of Peanuts. And you can find my books on Amazon, find it in bookstores, you can order it, or you go to my websites, metropolisthebook.com and undercitythebook.com. Also, I think I have my own website. I think monteschulz.com is a website too. So my publicist keeps asking me about that. Is it? I said, I think it is.
We're going to make it very easy for everybody because in the description of today's podcast, there will be a list of the major links that they can just click and go and find all of your information.
Okay. Good enough. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I like making things easy.
Yeah. Well, that is a virtue. Okay. So you win there. Good job. Yeah.
I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview here today. This has been absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. Have
a good day. And I really appreciate you doing this. It was fun.
So there you have it, folks. That was my interview with the fascinating author, Monte Schulz. His book shows how even in a dystopian world, love still exists. People reach for each other even in the darkest of times. And honestly, isn't that when we usually need it the most? You can hear in his voice that storytelling is a real passion for him, and that comes out in his work. This episode closes out the first month of our Lovefest, but we still have the whole month of March left to go. Our March lineup not only includes some amazing authors, but also has our first ever podcast takeover by my friend, Sebastian Duro-Russell, award-winning author of Burning with a Blue Flame. I think you're really going to love his episode. Now, next week, Lovefest continues with Christine Jensen, author of The Wednesday Club. Her novel follows a young woman navigating unexpected changes in her life, and she finds belonging in a group she never saw coming. It's about loneliness, new beginnings, and friendships that can quietly save you. It's definitely a different kind of love story, but absolutely part of Lovefest. Now, a quick note for authors. Season 5 is officially booked. Last year, it took us 3 months to fully book Season 4, but this year, once we opened applications publicly, it only took 3 weeks to completely book Season 5. I am genuinely curious to see what happens in season 6. We also have a wait list for this season, so we are no longer accepting applications for this year. If you have not heard from us yet about your application, please do not despair. I'm a little behind on emails, but I will get caught up by the first week of March. If you would like to have early access to get into our lineup for season 6, sign up for the newsletter at burkhartbooks.com/subscribe. Our newsletter subscribers get early access to the podcast guest application at least 2 weeks before it opens publicly. We do that so that we can support those people who support us. And if you look in the description of today's podcast, not only will you find all of Monte's information with links to his main social media for all of his books, but you'll also find a link so that you can go directly to our subscription page and sign up for our newsletter. And if you're a regular listener and you enjoy this show, please subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen so that you will never miss an episode. If each listener told just 2 people about Book Banter with Diane Burkhart, that alone will significantly grow this community. And we are really working on growth this year, so help a girl out. It doesn't cost a dime, and I would really appreciate it. And just in case, thank you in advance. But that's enough blather for today. So you know what that means. It's time for you all to go forth and be really happy. There's another month of Lovefest still yet to come. Thank you for joining us today. Be sure to subscribe to Book Banter with Diane Burkhart on your favorite podcast streaming service. Because if you love books like we do, you do not want to miss a single episode of this podcast.